Hey guys, and welcome back to Dogforge, and welcome back to our overview of Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Seat your arc reactors in your chest plates because this time we're going to be going over the Armor subclass for the Artificer. I'm going to be honest, this isn't even the beginning of the subclass, this is just a really cool image. Yeah. Moving on. So, as you can see here, this is an example of the two different kinds of armor that you can generate using the subclass. But why don't we learn a little bit more about what that armor is and where it comes from first? An Artificer who specializes as an armorer modifies armor to function almost like a second skin. The armor is enhanced to hone the Artificer's magic, unleash potent attacks, and generate formidable defense. The Artificer bonds with this armor, becoming one with it as they experiment with it and refine its magical capabilities. So we get this subclass as with all other Artificer subclasses at level 3, and immediately we get our tool ability. Now for the Armorer, we're obviously going to gain proficiency with heavy armor and proficiency with smith's tools. Unlike all the other Artificer abilities, if you already have this from something, say like a dwarf as your race, or maybe you picked it up as a feat if you're taking Artificer a little bit later into your progression, then you can just pick another type of Artisan's tools. And as with all other Artificer subclasses, we get our own spells. Now these don't count against the number of spells that you can prepare as an Artificer, so it works similarly to how a Cleric's Domain spells work. At level 3 we get access to Magic Missile and Thunderwave. This is the first time that Magic Missile is appearing for the Artificer. Unfortunately, we don't get to take advantage of it like we could with Arcane Firearm, but it's still a nice range damage choice to have. At 5th level we're going to get access to Mirror Image and Shatter. At 9th level, Hypnotic Pattern and Lightning Bolt. 13th level sees Fire Shield and Greater Invisibility come online. And 17th gives us Pass Wall and Wall of Force. Now this is what we've been waiting for. Arcane Armor. Your metallurgical pursuits have led you to making an armor a conduit for your magic. As an action, you can turn a suit of armor you are wearing into arcane armor, provided you have smith's tools in hand. Now this is quite important, but as one of the core Artificer features, you will be able to create whatever tools you need anyway, so that should never really be a problem. You gain the following benefits whilst wearing this armor. If the armor normally has a strength requirement, the arcane armor lacks that requirement for you, allowing you to dump strength with reckless abandon without taking the speed penalty. You can use the arcane armor as a spellcasting focus for your Artificer spells, meaning that you don't need to concern yourself with tools or an infusion in your hand. The armor attaches to you and can't be removed against your will. It also expands to cover your entire body, although you can retract or deploy the helmet as a bonus action. The armor replaces any missing limbs, functioning identically to a limb it replaces. You can doff or don the armor as an action, which makes it a lot more friendly to avoid things like heat metal. The armor continues to be arcane armor until you don another suit of armor or you die. Alluding to, but not confirming, that we could have briefcase armor. As a fan of the Iron Man cartoon from the 90s, dreams are coming true. Now on to the different types. Armor model. You can customize your arcane armor. When you do so, choose one of the following armor models: Guardian or Infiltrator. The model you choose gives you special benefits whilst you wear it, and this is where really the fighting style, so to speak, comes from. The things that we've encountered so far are more like the background benefits. Each model includes a special weapon. When you attack with that weapon, you can add your intelligence modifier instead of strength or dexterity to the attack and damage rolls, making us intelligence sad. You can change the armor's model whenever you finish a short or long rest, provided you have smith tools at hand. So first up we have the Guardian. You design your armor to be in the front line of conflict. It has the following features. Thunder Gauntlets. Each of the gauntlets count as simple melee weapons whilst you aren't holding anything in it, and it deals 1d8 thunder damage on a hit. A creature hit by the gauntlets has disadvantage on attack rolls against targets other than you until the start of your next turn, as the armor magically emits a distracting pulse when the creature attacks someone else. Now this is great for tanking in the drawing aggro kind of way, where you're really incentivizing creatures to attack you. A quick note on the Thunder Gauntlets: since they are in each hand, naturally by being gauntlets, and they are melee weapons, if you were to take the dual wielder feat, not only would you get an armor class bump, you would also be able to make a bonus action attack with the gauntlets. This is one of the few ways I can see to actually increase the Thunder Gauntlet's damage, but it also increases the number of creatures you can affect with that distracting pulse. Just a quick note. Next up, Defensive Field. As a bonus action, you can gain temp HP equal to your level in this class, replacing any temp HP you already have. You lose these temporary hit points if you doff the armor. You can use this bonus action a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all uses when you finish a long rest. So starting out at 3 temp HP, going up to 20, this does use their new fascination with the proficiency bonus mechanic, but as it's also tied into your level, this shouldn't really see much multi-classing abuse. Next up is the Infiltrator, and this is going to be our ranged option. You customize your armor for subtle undertakings. It has the following features: Lightning Launcher. A gem-like node appears on one of your armored fists or on your chest, your choice. It counts as a simple ranged weapon with a normal range of 90 feet and a long range of 300 feet, and it deals 1d6 lightning damage on a hit. Once on each of your turns, when you hit a creature with it, you can deal an extra 1d6 lightning damage to that target. So straight away, we have a lot of good right here. We have a very long range, and with Sharpshooter, we can get that 300 feet without disadvantage. The gem being on your chest means that you can still use your main attack whilst wielding a shield and carrying something else, maybe an infused sword in your other hand, just in case. It's a really great ability, and then you get to throw that extra d6 on top, so you're doing 2d6 plus intelligence modifier. And it's compatible with Sharpshooter, and presumably the archery fighting style. That's just great. But moving on to the actual infiltration aspect. Powered steps. Your walking speed increases by 5 feet, and dampening field. You have advantage on dexterity stealth checks. If the armor normally imposes disadvantage on such checks, the armor and disadvantage cancel each other out as normal. Now, the important thing to note here is that, and this is a little bit grey, if you have armor made of mithril, it is technically a magic item in the DMG. Now, normally, magic items and the Artificer are a little bit of a grey area with its interaction with its abilities. If you have a magic armor as mithril, you may not be able to infuse it depending on how your DM rules it. But if you do have mithril armor, then you would not be suffering from disadvantage to begin with, and you could potentially have permanent advantage on stealth checks in plate armor. That's pretty crazy. Moving back to the general chassis overall, we get extra attack at 5th level. Remember that extra d6 on your lightning attack is only once per turn. 9th level brings armor modifications, and this is better infusion support for our armor. You learn how to use your Artificer infusions to specially modify your Arcane Armor. That armor now counts as separate items for the purposes of your infuse items feature. Armor, the chest piece, boots, helmet, and the armor special weapon. Each of these items can bear one of your infusions, and the infusions transfer over if you change your armor's model with the armor model feature. In addition, the maximum number of items you can infuse increases by 2. but those extra items must be part of your Arcane Armor. So breaking this down, armor in D&D is normally classified as a single item, but you can effectively break it into separate items so that you are still covered in your armor, but you can benefit from infusing boots, hats, helmet in this case, and so on. But the actual piece of your armor that is considered armor mechanically is the chest piece. So you could put enhanced defense on your chest piece, boots of the winding path on your boots. You know, you can infuse each one, and because you get that infused item bump, you can still customize your armor and have infusions left over to give out to your party members or continue to buff yourself with. And again, a great shout out for this is just putting any of the weapon infusions on your weapons. Thunder Gauntlets with Radiant Weapon would be amazing. Why wouldn't you want to blind people while smacking them with thunder? Next up, and finally, we get Perfected Armor as our 15th level armor feature. Your Arcane Armor gains additional benefits based on its model as shown below. So first up with the Guardian. When a huge or smaller creature you can see ends its turn within 30 feet of you, you can go all tractor beam on it. You can use your reaction to magically force the creature to make a strength saving throw against your spell save DC, pulling the creature up to 30 feet toward you to an unoccupied space. If you pull the target to a space within 5 feet of you, you can make a melee weapon attack against the creature as part of this reaction. That's pretty huge. Now, you've gone from just incentivizing people to actually going a little bit Scorpion on them and, you know, get over here. Now, you can use this reaction a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. I warned you in the wizard video you're going to be seeing this a lot. And you regain all expended uses of it when you finish a long rest. And for the Infiltrator, any creature that takes lightning damage from your lightning launcher glimmers with magical light until the start of your next turn. The glimmering creature sheds dim light in a 5-foot radius, and it has disadvantage on attack rolls against you, as the light jolts if it attacks you. In addition, the next roll against it has advantage, and if that attack hits, the target takes an extra d6 of lightning damage. Now obviously, somebody else can benefit from that d6 and from that advantage, but you can now hit it with your first attack, do your d6 extra damage, and then follow it up with your second attack and still get a d6 of extra damage. On top of that disadvantage against you is a great mediating factor for you annoying that creature and it closing the distance on you. Quick note on the Infiltrator as a whole, since you are ranged weapon heavy, you're probably going to want to consider Crossbow Expert, even though you're not using a crossbow. Negating the disadvantage within 5 feet is a really great feature for this. And you know, that's the armor. It's a really cool subclass. I think it adds a lot of flavor and fills a great niche on the Artificer. I'm personally excited to play it. I'm excited to see it in play, and I'm excited to hear what you all have to say about it. So, what do you think about the armor? Tell us in the comment section down below, and hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. And whilst you're down there, hit that subscribe button and notification bell for more D&D and Tasha's content in the near future. I've been Paul, this has been Dogforge, and we'll see you next time.